A carboxylic acid is a molecule that has a carbon-oxygen double bond, and on the carbon atom there is an oxygen which is bonded to a hydrogen. On the other side of the carbon atom there could be a hydrogen atom or it could be another carbon atom, doesn't matter. In this video I'm going to teach you how to name carboxylic acids, starting with a pretty simple example. When we're naming a carboxylic acid, our first step is to find the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms that includes the carbon of the carboxylic acid. So this carbon atom has to be part of the longest chain, and we just find the longest chain that includes this guy. For this molecule, this first one's very simple. It's just a 3-carbon chain right there. Our next step is to number that continuous chain of carbon atoms, and we want to make the carbon of the carboxylic acid group carbon number 1. So this will always be our carbon number 1. If we had a more complicated molecule with branches or halogens or substituents or anything, we would begin by naming those just like we normally do. For this simple molecule with no branches, we're going to jump straight to the molecule's name. The name of the carboxylic acid is based off of our 3-carbon chain. 3-carbon chain alkane would be called propane. But because this is a carboxylic acid, we are going to drop the E from the ending of the name, and we are going to replace it with oic, and then a second word, acid. So this is a 2-word name, and we pronounce this propanoic acid. Let's look at an example that's a little bit more complicated. So first we want to find the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms that includes this carbon of the carboxylic acid group. It looks like we want to go this way, like that. And we want to number that chain of carbon atoms starting at the carboxylic acid group. So we're going to number it like this. This example does have substituents on it. There is a chlorine, and then there's also this ethyl group. Remember that these get named alphabetically. So chlorine, which starts with a C, versus ethyl, which starts with an E. The chlorine is going to come first in the name. We're going to say the location of the chlorine. It's located on carbon number 5. And then the name as a substituent, we call this chloro. For our next substituent, this guy right here, we have to say its location, it's on carbon number 2, and then say its name, it's an ethyl substituent. And now we're ready for the molecule's name. This is a 6-carbon chain that is based off of the molecule hexane, but we're going to drop the E, and we're going to replace it with oic, and then the second word, acid. 5-chloro, 2-ethyl hexanoic acid.